Welcome to Web Development Lesson 1.4. In this lesson, we're going to extend our understanding of hyperlinking to include hyperlinking other HTML elements. We're also going to look at a new attribute called target, which allows us to specify where a hyperlink should open. So let's get to it. So before we jump into code, I simply want to go through an exploration of this concept of hyperlinking other things beyond just text, which, again, if you've been on the web, you're already accustomed to this. So for instance, the most popular thing to hyperlink other than just text are pictures. And one thing that allows you to tell that something is a hyperlink is that when you put your mouse over it, it becomes a little hand. Again, that's standard. It doesn't have to be though. Again, through CSS, you can change that. So let's click on something else just to prove to you that this is a hyperlink back to the home page. So I'm going to go to Bayside High School Freshman 2020. It takes us to this page, which has a nice little video. And then I'm going to click back on the logo to go to the home page. All right, so that is hyperlinking an image. Now I want to show you this other concept of target. Right now you'll see that there's one tab. So if I click on this 2021 yearbook, notice it opens up another tab. Sometimes that's useful. So that way your visitor doesn't lose the original website without having to necessarily use the back button to get to it. So now let's go back to code and explore how all this is done. So this was the example for 1.3 where we had Google, which linked to Google. And then we had another link called monster that linked to a picture of this zombie monster over here. Wouldn't it be cool? I'm going to open this up on the preview page on a separate tab. Wouldn't it be cool that instead of having the words Google, that we actually had an icon or a logo of Google, and then instead of the monster, we actually had a small version of the monster that we can click on to then take the visitor to the full version of the image. So let's start off with Google. I'm going to go to my Google search, and I've already searched for a picture. And just as review, if you want to grab a picture from the internet, you could grab its image address. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to stick the image in the same spot where the words are. So a hyperlink doesn't care. A hyperlink consists of what you're going to link to, what the person's going to see on the screen, and then closing the hyperlink. So instead of putting words, we can do img source for an image, and that will put an image as the hyperlink. You can put any HTML here, any HTML element, a heading, a paragraph, an HR if you want. Again, any valid HTML element can fit inside this section of the hyperlink. For us though, we want to put an image. So let's try this out. Again, sometimes the image addresses aren't short, but that's okay. The only thing to remember is that you close off that image address. That seems to be a common mistake when students copy and paste an image address, so they forget to close it at the very end. So let's go and run this. We could kind of see that it's a little on the large side. So let's modify the height, make it a little smaller, let's say 20. And I'm also going to preview it on this page instead. All right, so let's click on it. And there you go. So we clicked on our logo image on our website, and it took us to google.com. So I'm going to go back. So notice this is our website. I'm going to click on it. It takes us to Google. But notice it takes over our web page. So I'm going to show you with the other image, the monster images, how we could direct the user to a new tab so that they don't lose our original web page. So let's practice that same technique of the image with our monster over here. So I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to do image source equals. Now the nice thing about the monster is that it's a local picture. So it's simply going to be zombie.png. And if you recall, this is a huge picture. So I'm already going to premeditate the fact that we're going to need to resize it. So let's say height is equal to 100. And let's go back to our preview page, go back to our original page. Okay, so here's our Google. Again, we could tell that it's a hyperlink because our cursor turns into a hand. And same thing for the image. Notice right now it's an arrow. Put my hand over, it's a link. If I click on it, it takes over my whole web page. All right, so that's the next part of this. This is where we're going to explore the target attribute. So I'm going to go back to the web page. So there is an attribute called target. And one of the nice values that you can put to it, I know it doesn't seem intuitive, but if you put _blank, that informs the browser. Oops, I put it in the wrong spot. It should not be in the image. It should be in the hyperlink. Again, the target is a hyperlink attribute. So if I put the target here, the target attribute here, it tells the computer to take this image and open it up in a new tab. So let's see that in action. So I'm going to click on the zombie and I want you to look up here. Notice it pops up a new tab and we still have our original website. So that is very useful. I want to go over a couple more things when it comes to hyperlinking because you might start to do other things just to get creative. So I'm going to do href and let's see what else do we have. Now let's try that data.csv. So this also happens to be a common mistake, other than misspelling href, that students forget to put something between the two, the open and the closing. If you do that, what happens is that the person has nothing to click on. And that could be challenging. So you have to be careful with what you put here. But just to show you, you can't put an HR. That is a valid HTML element. And what happens is, if you notice, my HR is a hyperlink. And if I click on it, it should download that CSV file. And there it is. Okay. So let's go back to our presentation. So in this video, we saw how we can extend our concept of hyperlinks to include other HTML elements, such as the video showed, images and an HR. But honestly, you can hyperlink anything. You can hyperlink a heading, a paragraph, any valid HTML element that you've learned and that you will learn. We also saw how the target attribute can give us a nice feature of being able to open the resource in a different tab without taking over our website. So enjoy.